Hi everybody, welcome to Ecodriver. My name is Helmut. Today we go out on the Ecodriver loop with the Volvo XC40 Recharge. That's the EV, the electric car. We've already tested one. That was the car with the model with the two motors, and now here we have the single motor model. And we have here 170 kilowatts electric motor, 231 horsepower, 69 kilowatt hour battery. We have unladen weight of 1,967 kilograms, 4,327 pounds. The WLTP consumption is stated with 18.7 to 19.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and the range is, according to WLTP, around 400 to 423 kilometers. We do the same route as always. I show you here. We start on the southern edges of Innsbruck, go out of town for a kilometer, and then we hit a climb which elevates us around 360 meters, 1100 feet, followed by some rolling hills, a descent, mixed road, open road section with through some villages. Speeds range from 30 to 100 kilometers an hour. Motorway, and at the end, 18 kilometers, 11 miles of city traffic. Every section we check the overall and sectoral consumption, and at the end we analyze the data. The cameras will be on all the time. Why? To show how am I driving to achieve the consumption that we will have achieved at the end. And my goal for this trip is 14 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers according to the board computer. And B, to prove that there is no need to go extra slow in order to be efficient. And yeah, we'll see how it works. And weather today is perfect. We have 11 degrees centigrade now. And yeah, I'll talk to you later and have fun. We're now coming to the end of the climb, and when we go around the corner, the dashboard shows 38.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. The current consumption, which I've set manually, the TM, isn't visible all the time. I think I can change it. The settings I need to find out. I think it works. I will do it later. And yeah, we had two obstacles on the way up, but it's not too bad. As this is a real-life test, we have to cope and live with other road users, especially the slower ones. We're now approaching the hills, and when you have seen my videos before, you know what I'm saying now. Imagine this is a roller coaster. If it goes down, build up some speed, build up some momentum, put some kinetic energy into the vehicle, and use this energy in the flat or when it goes up, and try to maintain the speed on the up at all cost. If you reduce the speed by 2-3 kilometers an hour, 1 or 2 miles per hour, that's sufficient to reduce the use of energy, and when it flattens, then you can re-accelerate again. At the end of the hills, we have 27.0 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. We're now approaching the ascent, and here it's important to avoid the use of energy, because we have a good friend that helps us on the way down. It's called gravity. Gravity is pulling the car downwards anyway, and therefore there's no need for us to use additional energy, and let's just make a clever use of gravity. We have 2 flat sections, and on those flat sections we just need to avoid using energy, so therefore I try to enter those flat sections with enough momentum that lets us cross those without the use of additional energy. At the end of the descent, we see 13.0 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Well, that's more what I like. We're now at roughly the same altitude as the start of this trip. That means those 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers gives us already a good indication of where we might end up. And it also indicates that difficult topography means going up and down doesn't necessarily mean you have a high consumption, or you must have a high consumption. You can drive up and down efficiently or inefficiently, and as you've seen here, 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers with 400 or almost 500 meters of altitude up and down is that's not too bad, I think. You've seen I had to overtake this Audi S something or RS something. There was a tourist who was going so slow. I invested a little bit of energy to pass him, because I knew that come the flat section he will be so slow that we need much more energy to cover the flat section and to be behind him. So I just invested some energy to overtake him, and it paid off. We are now approaching the open road section. It's mixed roads. Speed limits between 30 and 100 kilometers an hour. We go through some villages, small towns, and we'll see where we end up with the consumption. We're approaching now the end of the open road section. You might have noticed that I had to quickly stop to fix the dashboard cam. So if you turn right here, we see 12.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. We are now approaching the motorway, and on the motorway there's a general limit of 100 kilometers per hour on this section, 62 miles per hour. Although EVs are exempt from this, so they are allowed to go 130. However, we will stick to the 100 km per hour limit, firstly for comparison reasons with other vehicles with which we were not allowed to go 130, and secondly, traffic normally is so heavy on this section anyway that it doesn't make sense to try to go faster. We're now coming to the end of the motorway, and you've seen that traffic was so heavy that we couldn't even go faster than 105. Mostly we were between 90 and 100. At the sign here we have 13.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Yeah, that's consumption went up quite considerably, but we will check at the end how much it really was. We're now approaching the city section, and here it's important to keep the vehicle in motion, try to avoid a standstill, try to avoid stopping, and subsequent re-accelerating. Why? We are recuperating, so we get back all the energy. No, we don't. We only get back around 40 to 45% of the energy we invest beforehand, and therefore it's still better not to brake, therefore regenerate, than to do so. And just keep the vehicle in motion, keep the speed steady, and try to avoid stopping or braking. So we're now at the end of our trip on the consumption loop with the Volvo XC40 Recharge, the one-engine model, and I'm really surprised, positively surprised, when I look at the dashboard. It says 12.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I expected something around 14, based on what I knew of this car, and I've driven it shortly before, but 12.9, hats off, chapeau. And now the details. Well, now let's have a detailed look at the sectoral and overall consumption of our trip on the Ecodriver loop with the Volvo XC40 Recharge with one motor. Outside conditions were fine. We had whole year tires, all-weather tires, so not dedicated winter or summer tires. You see the technical details. Trip time was rather fast, 140, not too bad. WLTP consumption of 18.7, and at the end we had 12.9. Then you have to add the charging losses, and then we probably end up with 15. So it's still almost 20% below the, or 15% below the WLTP. And yeah, 11.1 in the city, 11.3 on the open road. I think that's quite good. 16.6 on the motorway is not amongst the best, but this is mainly down to the aerodynamical form of the vehicle. And if you look at the weight-specific consumption, that's the column on the far right, 0.656 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers per 100 kilograms of weight. And this catapults this car into the top echelon of efficient cars, just behind those cars which are already known as very efficient, the ones of Hyundai, Kia, and from the Volkswagen group. And the Volvo is just behind that, so they've done a real good job in making this car more efficient. And I've done the video with the two-motor car, with the two-motor XC40, and I was quite harsh on Volvo, because it's not a very efficient car. It's very inefficient, to be frank, but I have to give credit where it's due. Here they have done a very good job, and this all of a sudden makes this car a viable option if you are interested in efficiency. If you want to know how the XC40 with the two motors performed on the Ecodriver loop, I have put a link up here. And down here you'll find my 5 tips of how to generally drive EVs more efficiently. If you generally like what I'm doing, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and if you hit the notification bell, you won't miss any new video. That's it for the Volvo XC40. Thanks for watching, take care, see you next time.